And now I suppose I should say, in the words of Flossie Carter, these items are a major, major go. I really like Flossie Carter. I think his reviews are fabulous. I would love to adopt his style, but I love the way that he has the items on the tabletop, and he has a little cat called White Shoes that walks about, and and he simply chooses sentences like, "This product is a major, major go." It's hilarious. Anyway, there you go. So today I thought to myself, why don't I chat about storage, and in particular hard drives, the LaCie hard drive here, the SanDisk SSD, and the Crucial SSD. And I thought I would show the devices, but also show their packaging. And I suppose I should, I'll come back to the packaging in a moment. So let's focus on these devices first. Now, this LaCie is, now also these devices, this is 5 terabyte, the SanDisk is 4 terabyte and 4 terabyte on the Crucial. And I like the way they have the size clear on the back. On the LaCie you have to go into the corner, and hopefully you can see that. It does say 5 terabyte. So this one is 1 terabyte more. But you know, visually you can see that there are differences, and also that they're all USB-C. And today, USB-C is the standard across all devices these days. I know that there'll be some older plugs. I'm saying plugs. The connector standard on the older, normally found on the HDD hard drives. But today on SSDs, you normally find USB-C, and I do find that very useful, because if you have a setup like this, all these devices, all these connectors here. This has a legacy lightning on it, because still the pad and the trackpad here, they require lightning, but everything else is USB-C here, and I've got some Thunderbolt cables with USB-C on. So the USB connector is really something that I was aware of, because as time goes on and you upgrade and you use things, buy things, the connector is really important. And a few years ago, when we were still using USB-A and then a micro USB, I did find that a bit of a nuisance. And knowing that devices and peripherals like this were going towards USB-C, I thought that was a nice move, actually, because it meant that your cables, you could have a standard cable for all your devices. And of course, if you have an Apple computer, in fact I think all the computers these days, this cable is a data cable, but it's also a charge cable, and so these things are very, very useful. I suppose I could do a video on that all by itself. And also on the new iPhone, for example, we have USB-C, and on all of the other smartphones out there, I think everyone's on USB-C now. So I suppose that's a side note, but it's something that I've enjoyed. Anyway. So this is LaCie's 5 terabyte hard drive. So inside here we have the old spinny disk type of drive. And I suppose what I should do is, if I put the solid states there for a moment, this is a couple of old drives that I've got. And so this is the HDD drive that we used to use, and in actual fact that drive probably came from a laptop that I upgraded a few years ago and popped into this Orico case. And this case has the connector, the SATA connector there. Anyway, it ends up as USB-C here. And even though it's it's a slow hard drive, it is great for storage. And so I did that with one disk there, and I thought it looked very interesting. But this is what is inside the LaCie actually. Although I think that the disk that's inside the LaCie has been updated once again, and there's probably less packaging and material around it, so that because, for example, I think this drive is only 500 megabytes, and this one might be 500 megabytes or even 250. One of them is 250, one of them is 500. So today's standards, considering these two are 4 terabyte SSDs, and this is 5 terabyte. This is heading towards 10 times larger than these. But I thought I would show you what's inside there. So these are my old legacy drives that I've pulled out of computers as I've been upgrading the computer. I've popped them into these Orico cases, and so it's repurposed. I suppose I saved a lot of cash there. And sometimes you do need storage. You simply need photos and documents being held in storage. So there you go. Anyway, back to some more modern equipment. When I looked at this and first looked at this, it was a few years ago now. The build quality is lovely. This is aluminium, and the tone of the metal is the same as my laptop and iMac, for example. And I thought the design was absolutely brilliant. And there's a little indicator light in a white tone, a USB-C, and I really liked that because when it's plugged in, I can see that the power has connected to it, and it also flashes when there's data transfer. So that bit I really liked. The size, it isn't too big. Compared to these things, this is a big heavy lump, but it's a nice object. It's aluminium. It's nice in the hand. It looks nice on the desk. There's 5 terabyte of storage in here, so you can dump a lot of documents on here and then pack it away. So this really is the definition of data storage. And let's bring the packaging right now. And I thought, at the time, I thought the packaging's all right. It's it's pretty pleasant. The quality of the cardboard is nice. The brief information is pretty good. And why don't I pull out what's inside? And I remember thinking, yes, I remember that. This, I thought this packaging was pretty cool. The item, how does it come apart? There we go. Yeah, it sort of came like that. And I thought that was very good actually. When you buy products like this, I suppose packaging, is part of the experience. And I quite liked it. So I thought, yes, it's very nice. And I suppose whilst I'm looking at boxes, let's have a look at the other two. So the SanDisk is, a very similar, thing really. And of course it's a bit smaller because, the actual device is smaller. And inside, I think that the tray thing was very similar. Yeah, there we go. And the device fitted in the middle there like that. So yeah, I thought that packaging was pretty good. I sort of liked it. And as the device gets smaller itself, so does the packaging. And Crucial's was even smaller and lighter. But once again, I thought the packaging was good. Let me see what we've got here. Yes. So it arrived like this with a cable in there. The device was there, and that's just some information. So I thought that was pretty good. I know that the packaging isn't really the important thing, but It is interesting, but the Crucial does feel, the packaging is definitely more throwaway and lighter, and something that I suppose matching, the transition of the devices, and as time goes on, that they're getting smaller, a little bit lighter. The materials are still very nice. I think that is an aluminium cover actually, although the back of it is a rubberized feel, which which is very nice actually. It stops it, on a table surface. It stops it whizzing about. That's very nice. Anyway, let me get back to the devices. So that's the packaging, and if I zoom back in, so ended up with this originally 5 terabyte storage, and a very nice quality, nice object, fit for purpose. Obviously the data transfer isn't that fast, but in context it's not really a problem. Also, I found that this being used for Time Machine was fine, because you can leave it plugged in. You're not really bothered about the time it's taking for the backup to take place, and it sort of sits there in the background. And so its fitness for purpose seems absolutely fine. And over the couple of years that I've had it, I've never noticed data loss or any problems whatsoever. So as far as fitness for purpose, this is brilliant, and it's huge, 5 terabyte. There is only one little downside, and that little downside is there is a very faint noise, and it's the mechanical noise of the disks inside. And when it's on a surface, on a tabletop like this, if the room is very quiet, you can hear the disc whirring noise. It is very quiet though. If people are talking, you wouldn't hear it. If there are other fans of other equipment, you will not hear it. But if there's no other mechanical noise in the room, and that's on a flat surface, you are going to hear this very gentle mechanical whirring noise. And that is the only negative connected to this LaCie hard drive. Okay, so I suppose what we've got here with these two, so we've gone from hard drive to SSD. So that means these are solid state and they are silent. There's no built-in fan. The heat simply is dissipated through the mechanical structure. But before I go to the SSDs, I suppose hopefully I've got the size comparison here. You can see that we are, as time goes on, we are getting, size is reducing, size and weight, because this Crucial is a fraction of the weight and size of the LaCie. This SanDisk is a little bit heavier, but it's because the materials are very premium. It's aluminium and rubber, and in the hand it feels like a very nice quality object. That's one of the noticeable things about this SanDisk Extreme. But I would say that on the whole, these all feel a very similar quality. The LaCie and SanDisk are definitely the better quality, I suppose, feeling. But this Crucial is definitely close by, if not the same actually. I think I might be splitting hairs there, because I think that is a metal outer part, and that part is rubberized plastic. So actually the build quality, it's very negligible. It's almost the same. Also, I think I should add, I think these products, the LaCie, SanDisk and the Crucial, they're all probably premium high-end products actually. So you are expecting the quality of the build to be quite good, and it is definitely pleasing that they all feel nice in the hand, that they do feel well made, especially the big LaCie 5 terabyte hard drive. Then this feels very nicely made. Anyway, I shall put the hard drive LaCie out the way. Let's take a quick look at the SanDisk. Now, If you like colour and visual interest, this is where the SanDisk is probably going to win from all the drives, because it's visually simply more interesting, and it has this carabiner loop thing, and also the metal part of it seems, it's all covered by this rubber outer part, which is very, very nice. The quality, it does seem a nice object. It looks like it's been designed very well. So the SanDisk is probably, from a visual interest point of view, the nicest drive here, especially this bit here, and the fact that the aluminium is encased by the rubber either side. That is quite sweet. Also, there is another SanDisk that's very similar looking. The shape of the hole here is more square, and that is that's the normal SanDisk drive. This is the SanDisk Extreme Pro, which means it's double the speed of the normal drive. That's about 1,000 megabits per second. In actual fact, this Crucial is that speed, about 1,000 megabits per second. Actually, at that point I should quickly pull this in again. The read-write speed of these drives, this is where if speed is an issue and data transfer is something that you're doing, the hard drive starts to become something that you perhaps are going to shy away from, because this is older technology. Even though the data transfer is there, the speed is only 1/10 of these, for example. This is much, much slower. So if you have a large data file, perhaps 1 terabyte, with these two SSDs here, it's going to transfer across in more likely minutes and seconds, or within a minute. This is probably going to take 5 to 10 minutes. You are definitely going to notice the speed transfer difference with an old hard drive. But if, for example, you're simply wanting to store photos, documents, and a time machine backup, the hard drive is absolutely fine. This is really, you don't need that speed performance. This is absolutely fine. But coming back to the SSDs, if you are using these drives for video production, or you are daily moving data across and you are using that data, you certainly want to be in the direction of solid state SSDs, because these are much, much faster. And then you've got really the difference between this connector technology is called Gen 3.2, which I'm no expert here, and I don't fully know all the details, but what that means is that your data transfer speed should be between 500 megabytes a second and about 1,000 megabytes per second, which today is pretty fast transfer speeds for data across peripheral devices. Now, this extreme one here is double that. It's at 2,000 megabytes per second. And I understand that the connector here is even though it's 3.2, the same as this one, this is 2x2, which translate to layman terms, it's just double the speed of this Crucial. Once again, this Crucial is the X9 Pro. I can't believe that. I should have named all these at the very beginning. I do apologise. And so this is the X9 Pro, but there's also an X10 Pro, and so the X10 of this is the identical speed capability of this. Now, saying that, today these 3.2 2x2 ports tend to be in excess of the computers that they're used with. Computers seem to their ports seem to be lagging behind the performance of these drives. So what can happen is, when I plug these into my iMac, even though the SanDisk is rated at double the speed, what I'm finding is that the actual data transfer is almost comparable. But if I do measure it with my stopwatch, the SanDisk probably is a little bit faster. But in context, that speed difference is something I'm not really noticing. So, you know, for me, that's a real world performance measurement. If you are, you know, it's what I'm noticing, and I certainly don't notice the performance difference using these for data transfer and for writing files and reading files. Plus, also, I'm not a heavy user, but now I've said that, there is some video work that I do, and other work that I do that is very data intensive. And so, you know, when I'm using these, I suppose this brings me on to temperature, that they both get warm, but they don't get too warm. I mean, you know, when I've used these a lot, I can put my hand on each device, and it's warm to touch, but it certainly isn't too warm, which indicates that the temperature is below 50 degrees centigrade. And as I understand it, if your device is below 50 degrees centigrade, you know, that is normal temperature. And I'm assuming that the heat dissipation is going through the material, and you know, I'm sure that the built-in thermal management, you know, is taking place. But I know other people talk about temperature problems with SSDs. When you use them heavily, they can get very hot. I haven't experienced them getting very hot. They get warm, yes, but this is only when I am transferring a lot of data to the computer, to the drive, you know, over half an hour, over an hour during the day. The temperature is there, but I've never really noticed a problem with the temperature. And in actual fact, these three devices, I've never actually experienced any problems at all. I've never experienced data loss or compatibility or being able to format or access files. That they've all been very, very good. I've never had a problem with these devices at all. So today, really the bit that you fall down on is, what do you need it for, and how does it look? Those are the two main measurement aspects, really. Well, for me, if I am simply wanting to store data and take a time machine backup from the computer, for example, a HDD drive, because it's going to be a lot cheaper, especially a LaCie, because LaCie is a very reliable name. You know, in actual fact, this is absolutely fine, because the speed read-write isn't really an issue, because it will take much longer, but you will not notice it. And once you've got the backup and you've got the data on here, you can unplug it and then pack it away. So if you are money conscious and size is not an issue, and you simply want to store data, HDD is definitely probably going to win, because these devices, this hardware is much cheaper. And you don't need the performance from the SSDs, and the weight, the size isn't an issue. If cost is an issue and your purpose is simply storage, hard drive today, absolutely fine. There is an argument in 5 years' time, could there be data loss? Yes. So you tend to always have more than one your data copied onto more than one drive, and over the years you'll keep cycling through and to make sure that you haven't lost your data. But if you are traveling, weight, size is an issue. Straight away, the hard drive you can discount, and you're going to come straight over to solid state, because these are going to be much smaller and much lighter. So straight away, yeah, traveling, weight, the HDD, yeah, that won't be something that you consider. You're straight over to HDD. But then so price, yes, actually, because these are much more expensive devices, you do start to look at what you get. Now, there is a big price delta on the storage size. So each of these devices, I've got the largest actually. These are both 4 terabyte. The HDD is 5 terabyte. I don't think you can get 8 terabyte today, but you know that's coming, although it might jump to 6 terabytes first. These in the 2 terabyte configuration and the 1 terabyte configuration are much cheaper. But if you are wanting the large devices like these, you know, they do start to be quite expensive. So that's something that you start to look at and you start to take a view on. Someone like me, I'm more bothered about the way it looks, which I suppose is terrible. If it looks nice and the quality looks good, that's where I start to take a view. And I like both of these actually. I like they both have, from a design point of view, lots of visual interest, and I like the fact they are different. But the crucial, because they're the same size, the crucial is much smaller and it is much lighter. I do find that amazing. I mean, this is almost half the size. And if I put my hand down, you can see how small the crucial drive is. But saying that, the SanDisk isn't really that much bigger. So we don't really have much of a problem with size, although if size is an issue, definitely crucial wins. If weight is an issue, even though weight is very negligible, crucial again, this drive is going to win because it is lighter once again. So yes, for me, choosing a storage device, what it's being used for is highly important because it's going to have a cost impact and it will determine which drive you go for. If cost isn't an issue, you probably are going to discount the hard drive very quickly because these are smaller and lighter. And then if at this level, it's really a preference of design, build quality, and how I suppose it makes you feel emotionally, because they do the exact same thing. As objects are very nice. There's just one more little thing. This has a little operation light inside it there. So as this is operated down here, a little light appears there, which is the same as this LaCie here. And the SanDisk doesn't have a light. And that is one thing that I think I would have really appreciated. Now, I don't know where they would put that light, but if there was a little light somewhere indicating that it had power and it was read-writing, I would like that actually. And for that reason, because there's a little light that appears here when it's in operation, for that reason I probably find myself going towards the Crucial, because it's the smallest, it's the lightest, it's nice and square. That is something I like, and it has a little light. But saying that, the SanDisk is very nice too. So anyway, they're both nice devices. These are at the top of the tree really. If you're into storage or you need storage, these things work really well. This is the latest technology. It's light, very functional, very quick, expensive, but still this hard drive is very nicely made. It looks nice on the tabletop. They're all fit for purpose. Anyway, there you go. This is my quick review of storage and hard drives and SSDs. I've probably forgot some detail. I do apologize. And I hope everybody is well. And bye for now.